Okay, the time is now 4 o'clock. We will go ahead and get started. Trustee Bova will not be in attendance today. So we'll go ahead and get started. Do we have any oral communications?
None.
Thank you. We'll move on to approval of minutes. So review and approve the minutes for February 12th meeting.
I have a question. When we went through the minutes, Robert gave us a update of when we would know more about the missing approvals on the trust fund withdrawals. I thought you said April.
That's correct. There we go. That's correct. The plan is to return at the April meeting for the rest of the assessment for the trust.
Okay, so we can put this conversation in the minutes, right?
I'm going to put to note that.
Okay. Because it wasn't mentioned in paragraph 3 of the minutes.
Okay, and just to clarify, this is adding it to the February 12th meet. Okay, we're going to add that.
Yeah, I can update it
Okay.
before it gets routed for signature.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Go say, well, knowing that, I move to approve.
I'll second.
And then the voting open. Let's approve 4-0.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to current business. We have updates from the city of Escondido about updates regarding the library infrastructure project presented by Robert.
All right. I actually enjoy sharing this with you every time because so much progress is made each time I come up. I was there just a couple of days ago actually yesterday with Reno and his team as we were walking through and doing an assessment of the technology that's needed for a part of that. But let me kind of go into what specifically I have right now, which is the roof will be 100% complete by end of day tomorrow, which is awesome. The plumbing, as you well know, is 100% complete. We still just need to add the fixtures into the restrooms. The electrical, which includes the lighting, is about 80% complete on the first floor and about 60% complete on the second floor. And that's mostly because we are waiting for the remainder of the fixtures to actually be delivered. The drywall is 100% complete, and as a result, painting is currently ongoing, and painting should be wrapped up by middle of next week, which is really nice. As far as the doors and windows are concerned, door frames are all in, so they have been completed. The doors will not be delivered for a little while because it's one of the last things that actually go in. The windows, the second floor windows are almost entirely in, so the brand new second floor windows, and the first floor windows are about 20% complete right now, so they're also currently being installed, which is really great. I mentioned that Reno, myself, and our IS team did a walkthrough of technology needs yesterday. The IS team will be doing another walkthrough with their vendors next week to be able to figure out the different placement for the different items. So, for example, we are increasing the reach of the Wi-Fi into a couple of the different spaces because we found out through the technology walkthrough yesterday that because we are not one large open room anymore, there's a number of smaller rooms that we've now created. We don't necessarily have access points in those spaces. So we'll be adding access points to those spaces, which will be really nice. We've talked a little bit about this previously, but the ADA path of travel, the concrete in front of the building has been completely demolished. And so within the next couple of weeks, we will be adding in new concrete into that particular space. The FF&E items, as far as like the book stacks, those will be delivered early May, and all the furniture will be delivered end of May, which would be really nice. So it's a really good time frame. And then Climate Tech will actually be starting their work in April, and they expect 2 months worth to be able to complete. And so we should be wrapped up with that one sometime very early June, which will allow us the opportunity to be able to move into the space. Reno and I had a conversation earlier this week to talk about what the transition back to the main library looks like. We've roughed out a timeline that is currently in the city manager's office being approved. Once that's been approved, I will share that with all of you. So those are my updates.
And so, correct me if I missed her. So it sounds like June, we can start moving things back into the library?
That's correct. Right now we're targeting mid-June return, so there would be a closure involved in that, and then we would reopen in probably mid-July approximately, because we are going to need, in speaking with Reno and our staff, we will need probably those full 4 weeks that we did for the move out to the library that we will need to move back to the library.
Got it. Thank you.
And then just as a really quick reminder, we do have a walkthrough for all of you on April 9th before our next April meeting. So just wanted to kind of remind you of that. Hopefully it'll be on your calendar. And John, our trustee Schwab, I understand that you are not going to be serving anymore, but we'd very much like you to participate if you have the ability to do so.
Thank you very much. I'd love to do that. Right now, we are not planning to be in town.
Okay. If there is another time that would be more convenient for you after that date, I would be happy to personally walk you through, myself or Reno.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, Robert. Look, it's really exciting here that everything's coming along fine. Seems like a very quick update from the last time around, so thank you. Moving on to number 3, planning and discussion. We'll be talking about the presentation to City Council. And so this is going to be presented by us. John, do you want to take the lead or do you want me to start?
I can I can take the lead. I certainly hope it's going to be April 1st and not the 8th, but that's not my decision. Because as it stands now, I won't be in town on April 8th. Okay, so we were going to go through, I think, the things that the board has done, maybe not just this year, but in some previous years as well. I know it asked for accomplishments in 2025, but I think it'd be worth spending a couple minutes on what's happened since the board started doing stuff in 2019 that it more or less established the pathway to a fine-free library, which I'm not necessarily thrilled with. I always thought there should be fines, especially for adolescents. It doesn't, so they learn a little more about responsibility, et cetera. But anyway, the changes that were made starting in 2019 led to that, and there were 3 of them, and I think I've sent those to you. The first one was the elimination of the rental charges for CDs. The second was due to Polaris. There was, and giving her credit, Joanna asked that we take credit for this, but it was because Polaris couldn't handle rental fees for DVDs that we got rid of that versus trying to spend a lot of money on a software version that no other library used. And then came COVID, and in, I want to say it was like May of 2020, Dara Brads called me and said, I was president that year, that why didn't we go for automatic renewal to make it easier on patrons, since we didn't have an open library and it was very difficult for them to do things. So we started that and never stopped. So the grand total of fees, which went into general fund, didn't come back to the library. None of those came back to the library directly. We lost $5,000 for books on CD, but we were the only people in the world charging for books on CD. DVD rentals, that was another $40,000 or $35,000, and the last $40,000 was fines, and all that disappeared over like a three-year period, I think, 19 through 23. So that's. Did you want me to talk about the collection budget as well, or?
Yeah, so just just a little bit more background. So for the April meeting, for the city council meeting, we will not be the only board that's going to be going before city council. So all of the boards and commissions will have a 10-minute window to update the council. And so my understanding, I think, is the last 5 years or so, just highlights of what the board has done. It may just be the 1 year, but I think it's the last 5 years, just to highlight any achievements that the board has had. But we also want to acknowledge that we're approaching this as a ask and recommendation to increase funds to the circulation budget. And John and I, with the help of Reno, have been putting together a small deck of slides that is going to give a little bit of context of what the circulation budget looked like. And so essentially what the total circulation was prior years during the LSNS contract and where it is now, kind of looking at, inflation, and we haven't had an increase in the budget. And so other comparable cities are essentially outcompeting us. Some of the information that Reno had shared with us prior. But if there's any other achievements, I know, Virginia, you've been on the board a little longer than Giselle and I. Any other achievements that you want us to highlight? Because I definitely want to be able to balance that request for that circulation budget with other things that we've done.
I've been racking my brains to think of something, but I'm sure there are, but I can't offhand think of what they were.
Yeah.
Those well, anyway, going from charging for CDs and DVDs and charging fines to fine-free in 4 years was, I thought, pretty remarkable.
Yeah. And
because
I think
the city is very jealous and conservative about their general fund revenues, and they don't like to see them reduced. But they, when all this was presented to them, they approved it.
Yeah, and then I haven't added this to the slide yet, John. But in talking about the circulation budget, I'm also gonna put some points regarding measures that the board has recommended. Just trying for us keeping in mind the budget. So like some of those hoopla restrictions that we've right. So we're not just blatantly asking for more money. We've taken other measures.
We took measures to try to reduce it and not and do the least harm to our patrons. And I think Reno did a great job in giving us good recommendations to look at. And without his input on the statistics, we would be arm waving for this. I do remember, I think maybe it was 2017 or 18. Is Jennifer Giltrop still at LSNS?
She's not, but you remember the correct name,
yes, okay. She was in charge of all library operations. And I asked her how was our collection budget overall in regards to other libraries of our size, cities of this population. And she said we were in the hunt. We weren't high, we weren't low, we were in the median range. And that was 2017-18. And now The median, as the statistics that Reno put together show, in 2024, that's what that data was for, we were at, 1.63 per capita, $1.63 per capita for collection budget, and the median of 43 other cities was 2.3 something. Yeah. And you don't want to look at the average because the average has Berkeley in it, and Berkeley was $18 per capita. So, but you took them out of the median, it didn't change a thing because they were so far out. But it did change the average quite a bit. The average went down from, what was it, 240 to, I don't know, it dropped like 20 cents or something. Dropped down to 218. Yeah. So, to me, it's just plain as the nose on your face that we are so far behind, and to allow this to continue and to not have it tied to an index in the future, so we don't have to go through these antics on a regular basis to ask for more money. You just put it on an index so that and if there is an index that pretty much represents what a collection budget encounters, or just make it a flat rate, whatever makes sense to council and to the finance department, needs to be done so we don't get this far out of whack again. Because what we've been doing, especially Reno's juggling with the collection budget, I mean, we're down to basically using smoke and mirrors, and it's just not working anymore. Okay.
Okay, Maribel, I think one of our other accomplishments that I propose that we highlight is our work with the other foundations to come up with funding for this library renovation project and holding community workshop meetings. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, that's great. That never happened back in the early days when I was on the library, as far as this organization coordinating with friends and the foundation to accomplish stuff. That's stuff that Virginia started. I think it was really a good idea.
And during those workshops, we were able to identify that the Friends of the Library needed support, and with the help of Reno and Robert, were able to highlight that and make sure that didn't go unnoticed. And which resulted in, I think, an expansion for them in room and space. So,
yeah, because initially they weren't going to go to the mall; they were just going to be gone. So, congratulations.
well, it was a group effort.
Okay, great. That's a really great point that you bring forth, Virginia. We'll definitely add that on there. And we will keep you all updated.
Maribel, can I make one more suggestion? Reno, do you have any statistics on, like, over the past 2 years, how much we've increased the cultural events at the library? Because I feel like there has been a huge increase since you've joined in recognizing those.
I don't have any. We don't normally identify just cultural events on the road for stats. We normally would do by each levels. But depending on when you need that, I can probably pull something. We do have all the stats because there's actually and that could be done. I think it just depends when you think the board. If it's for that April, I can probably turn it around within 2 weeks. Maybe quicker.
Okay. That's just a suggestion because I think the library's done a great job in increasing the awareness around those different cultural events. And that's a minor suggestion if it could be done. If not, just a suggestion.
And then,
If you want it, just if I can get it for you, if you want a certain any particular day, like 2020, or I can look at when. A lot of that has to do with when we passed our strategic plan. Because one of our goals is keeping the hub, and that reflects a lot of the cultural programs we've been doing. But if anything, if we're
could we do 2023? Because I don't know if 2025, because we had that closure, if that's a great year to use. And so I think 2023 and 2024 give us 2 good full years to kind of roughly see where we are now. Again, considering the closure and the move. But on that note, Robert, for the slideshow for city council, do we need to submit that ahead of time? Or as long as it's on the agenda, we don't need to have that input?
We would request that we receive that in advance because that allows us to preload it onto the computer,
Okay.
and the city clerk, Zach Beck, will have that ready to go for you.
Got it. So how much in advance would you need that?
Just need it that day. But
Okay,
it needs to
okay.
be like by noon would be ideal.
Okay, so then I'll work with you on the timeline, Reno, to get that to us, to incorporate. Thank you.
And so just a comment from me about, I think all of this is great. Everything you all have highlighted, again, because I'm the newest to the board here, so reflecting on all of those efforts and actual, motions and actions taken by the board. My note would just be as a reminder to sort of ground things. It's to the credit of Reno and the staff, but highlighting that registered borrowers are up to 100,000, and even just what the average of our monthly visits have been, over 20,000. I think just returning it, that we're asking for this growth in the collections budget to be serving the community, and it's clear based off of all of the data and what we discuss here monthly that the community is using it. The need is there. So this isn't just a empty ask just because it hasn't happened in years. We're really trying to serve and meet the needs of the community. So that would just be my other note.
That sounds really good. I've given God knows how many presentations over the past decades. My rule of thumb is that when you're adding a little color to the page you're putting up, you normally take about a minute per page. So if we have more than 10 pages, we're going to run over.
Yep.
That would be my guess.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll work with you on Reno, and then we'll make sure I get that slide over to you, Robert, with enough time. Unless we have any other questions or comments, we'll move on to number 4. We'd like to do recognition of retiring Library Board of Trustee member John Schwab.
So, John, we would, on behalf of the Library Board of Trustees, we would like to thank you for your many years of service and dedication and your passion in serving the community, making sure that there's equitable access for all, holding the city accountable with your history knowledge. Like, the city of Escondido is lucky to have you as a community member and someone who cares so deeply about each and every person here. So thank you for your service. And on behalf of the City of Escondido, the Escondido Public Library, and the Board of Trustees, we have a proclamation that March 12th, 2026 is John Schwab Day in the City of Escondido. Here you go. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a fun and interesting 7 years, and I'm on a couple boards, and this one I have no problem with you guys just doing a great job going forward. You're not going to miss me. Some of the other boards, not so much. But this thank you very much. You guys are a great group.
Can we stand up and take a picture together? Okay. Yeah, we'll come up front with Reno too. And Robert, you're part of this, Robert.
All right. We stop for most of us. I'm slightly taller than some of you.
Well, that was fun. What are you going to do on John Schwab Day?
Well, yeah, our day's not going to be over till about 8 o'clock tonight.
Okay.
One passing thought, don't take no for an answer, okay? For the $5,000 for CD rentals, I was told by a senior person in city staff, Jeff Epp will never approve that. You're wasting your time. He took one look at the data, approved. Didn't have to say a word. So, data talks.
Thank you so much, John. You've really done so much, and I'm glad you feel confident in the board you're leaving behind. But you have just so much, I think, of that knowledge and so much of the passion. And I think that will be greatly missed. But we truly appreciated working with you.
Just thank you. Just stick around a couple of years, you'll have it too.
Okay. Next, we'll go ahead and move on to the statistics report presented by Reno.
All right, so I do have it pulled up so you all have it. Highlight this month, I will highlight the fact that this last cycle, so between December and January, I did note that we had a higher growth in digital circulation than we did in print circulation. I don't, off the top of my head, remember whether that means that that's consistent, but it does show that, at least with Overdrive Libby, we have continued to see growth relatively steadily there, and that might be indicative of future trends as more and more users start becoming comfortable with digital materials. We're still at around 20% of our overall circulation being digital versus the 80% being physical. But there are a number of library systems, both locally and just nationally, where the spread has now been 50-50, where it's 50% of checkouts and budget go towards digital, and that other half goes to print. That's not what our community is at right now. We might never get there. Each community is different, but this could be early signs of trends moving more toward digital as native digital users grow up, become parents, and then start using that. Caveat there, of course, I'll mention that the stats don't reflect younger users using, like, there's no, the children's circuit digital is basically non-existent. It's YA and above. It's adults, particularly audiobooks, and then followed by ebooks for adults, and then we've got the Y, which is shared across both teens and adults. They all love that. But we are keeping track of this. We're watching it, because this, of course, will eventually impact how we divvy up and divide the collections budget between print and digital. As long as print is favored, we're going to still way more of our budget towards print. But every year we look at the data, every month we look at the data, and we advise based on that for any changes. So this is just something I'll highlight. Hoopla, of course, is flat because we have that capped, but Overdrive is a one where we have steadily seen more and more growth. I'm also very happy to see growth in our Link Plus. We're from 300 now to close to 400. Relatively small overall as far as the percentage of circulation, but it is a service that helps expand the availability of what items are accessible to our community. Because Link Plus offers us computers from libraries across California, delivered here, you pick up here like a whole. Especially for rare items or specialty items that might not be a good fit for us to buy. This is a service that we're going to continue to support, and I like seeing the growth in that space. Any questions or comments beyond that for any of the staff?
One question on Link Plus. Isn't there an additional cost to it next year?
Yes, there is an additional cost to Link Plus. Currently, Link Plus is supported partially by our membership fees to the Sarah Library Cooperative, which is our regional cooperative. Beyond that, we pay for the courier service that supports Link Plus throughout the state and locally. And because fuel charges and other charges related to that community contract have increased, we will see an increase of around $3,000 to support Link Plus here, in addition to our around $6,000 increase in Sarah's our dues. So we're close to 10 grand for supporting this service. Really, it's 3 grand is how I see it. Sarah allows other things, like we have a shared Overdrive collection through the Sarah Cooperative, has its own benefits, but most of the money we spend through Sarah is going towards supporting Link Plus for the region, with our contribution, like I said, next year increasing by 3 grand. That currently does not come out of the collections budget. I absorb it in our operations budget. At some point, we might not be able to do that, and we might have to dip into collections, but because we have limited collections budget changes, I've been trying to absorb those costs related to that particular service and operations. And any notes, just a reminder you read, is because the data might not have been complete, or there might have been some asterisks there. Mostly I'll just note the volunteers I didn't have. At the point of writing this, I was missing the literacy volunteers, so typically that adds another 30, that's why it's around 60, but at the time I only had 4 volunteers from the front.
Thank you, Reno. If that's all, we can go ahead and move on to the library director's report.
We have a couple new hires and changes, so I did want to just highlight we have 3 new part-time team members in youth services. So if you just stop by the children's library, you'll see some new faces there. We have Heather, Carly, and Summer. I'm not going to go through all their backgrounds, but they all have different skills, all of them related to either education or library experience or school experience that our leadership team and youth services thought would be a good match for our team. So we're really excited to have them and to have them here before we make the big move back. We will be in the next coming weeks hosting an opening for a children's library position. So if you do know anybody that has their master's in library science, is interested in working in our children's department, there's no leadership role, that'll probably be coming up by the end of the month. So feel free to share that. We'll be, of course, recruiting as normally, but just know we'll have a new children's librarian as well coming soon. Other new things. Currently, Dan, our assistant director, is working with our team to get our new summer reading and reading challenge platform up and running. The new platform is called Beanstack. It's very popular with libraries throughout the region and across the U.S. Beanstack, in particular, an advantage that it has over what we used to have called Read Squared, is that it also comes with an app. So a lot of our younger users and family members are more used to using an app for a variety of things. So Beanstack will streamline the process for registration, tracking, and gamifying their summer reading challenges. And so we'll have that for sure by this summer. We're hoping to have it up and ready for a spring, kind of a late spring, really it's our late winter reading challenge, but we've now changed it to a spring, so we still have it. And that'll act as our testing ground for the platform and to make sure everybody's ready for the big show, which is usually our summer reading challenge. So very excited to have Beanstack now, really give it an upgrade, a new look, fresh experience for our users moving forward into the spring and summer this year. Any questions about either of those before I move on to our Latinos and Escondido updates? Yep. I'm going to go ahead to the end. So this is just a quick report that our archivist actually made prepared for us regarding the Latinos and Escondido Oral History Project. I will skip to the end just so we can have a look at it. So as a reminder, this was originally a grant-funded program that Ashley and the Pioneer Room was awarded last year. It launched late last year in 2025, August. Ran for a few months officially as the scope of the grant. But of course, we continued building on what that grant provided with additional services, interviews, oral history. So far, we've completed 8 complete oral histories, and we've scheduled 2 currently. So we've got 10 participants. 3 of the interviews have come from the Latino community, 7 from members of the broader Escondido. We had registration for 2 former Escondido mayors, which I'd love to see. And one of the reasons why you might say, oh, it's only 10, and it's been a few months, we have to remember that it is only Ashley as our archivist, and then she has 1 part-time support member running the Pioneer Room. And because coordinating some of these interviews can be quite time-consuming, and then each interview itself can take multiple hours of just prep and interview, 10 hours for 10 participants is within what I would expect. Internally, we are looking at ways of being able to expand the Pioneer Room services and hours using existing budget and staff. So that, with my goal being to be able to expand and provide more of this throughout the week and to allow actually more support to be able to focus on topics like oral history. But this is just one example of what we can do with more focus and effort given to the Pioneer Room. I'm not going to go through all of this. We've promoted it pretty well. All of these are now being preserved. I also really like the idea that they'll be combining the oral histories with archival materials and also some of our mapping of archival collections using geography. So putting in locations related to histories that are being told and tying those with archival footage, images, throughout Escondido to really bring the history alive throughout the community, and then to also be used in other efforts in the library, like our programs related to oral history or the walking tours that are also conducted. So I could see a scenario where we incorporate elements of that to a self-guided tour, for example. You see this a lot in local history locations that might have their own little walking tour guide on tablet or an app. And so that's something we could do in the future once we have more of these types of stories collected. And of course, if you know anybody, they're still always looking for participants. It's just, I don't know exactly how many are attending currently, but if you know somebody that has the time and is willing to stop by the Pioneer Room, please feel free to contact or let them contact Ashley Hayes or our archivist. Any questions or any comments you'd like me to bring back to our Pioneer Room staff?
I have a quick comment for you, Reno. Thank you. I think this is really great. I'm not familiar with the Google My Maps component, but I will just throw this out there. Just so there's a faculty at CSUSM. He's an archaeologist. Where has he been recently? he's been out of the country quite a bit, but he has, and he's been trying to do more community outreach with a lot of the equipment that he has, and kind of like loaning it out to the community, where basically like you take a photo and it'll kind of take you like, it'll kind of do like those walkthrough images where like click here to go down the hallway. So I don't know if that's something that you could potentially use and try to map out any locations. I think this would be more useful for like currently and today, because obviously we can't go back in the past. But I can try to get that faculty member's information if that's something that you might find useful and I can connect you with.
That would be welcome. You never know. At a minimum, it could be a good contact, and they might be welcome to come do a presentation on the current work. We've had a lot of local authors and historians come to the Pioneer Room for those types of programs. So at a bare minimum, that could be an option. If not, you never know. They might have something they can connect elsewhere.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have just a question that just popped in my mind. When is the current strategic plan up?
The current one, it was for 5 years. And then it was extended. I think it's 27.
Yeah, I think that's mine. So, based upon our history with that, I'd like to sit down with you at some time and tell you basically what not to do.
If we're good to return to the main part of the updates, no more questions about the Latinos and Escondido, is that correct? Yeah. As far as February highlights, we had a very nice, busy February. I think the highlight for me and for the staff was our annual Dragon Dance. So part of one of our cultural celebrations, Lunar New Year, we invite one of our local Free Treasures Cultural Arts Society to do a demonstration or presentation. Typically it's in the Turrentine Room, but I was very happy to see the level and amount of cooperation and marketing from the mall. You can see here a selection of images, but we had nearly 900 people. We had 845 in attendance for that program at the mall. You can see some selections there. You only see ground floor, but there was also people on the upper floor looking down. And of course, we had passersby and also the park walks. So again, highlights the impact that our cultural programs and our special programs at the library have, and both sharing what our nonprofit and community organizations have to offer here in Escondido, and also diversity of culture and opportunities both for those nonprofits and for community. So I really love these types of programs and why we're doing more of them. And you can just see here the impact, just some of the images of who was there and what they experienced. So I love to see that. Very positive results. And I'm looking forward to having this again at one of the new library renovated and returned to room. Our youth programs again continue with partnerships like the Bavarian with the Read to Reject program, and again another partnership with Cal State San Marcos with our ongoing STEM program for our children and tweens. Our tween book clubs and art squads, by the way, have been doing an excellent job of increasing membership and attendance while we've been at the mall. So we do see that in particular with art squad, 30 participants again. Tweens being a newer segment we've been targeting have been a struggle to get ongoing and continued growth, but we've been very happy to see that with what our current teen or children's librarian and our teen and children's staff, how they've been supporting these teams. Adult services, similarly, we've been trying a number of new programs. Here we highlight a couple. For example, we had a brand new adult crochet club, which grew out of interest from our teen crochet club. You can see that in the image here. We had 28 attendees for the crochet club. So clearly there is an interest and need in crochet in the adult segment of our community. So we were happy to find that. Another program for adults that I was happy to see attempted and successful was the library kitchen. So a number of libraries nationally and in the region have done limited usage, to some extent more cooking class related. This aligns with building home skills. It also can be aligned with professional development. Sometimes just learning to cook can lead you down the path of going to culinary school and then other steps of working in the kitchen, etc. But really, this is geared towards young adults or adults that have limited support from family members, or maybe you're a little challenged by just trying something out of the cookbook because you're doing it in a safe space with guidance by staff. You're very limited. In this case, you were learning how to do pasta using a pasta machine, so fresh pasta. So we try to balance out the fun with elements that also include some sort of personal or professional development for especially your adults and students. Pioneer Room, as we mentioned, you see here Ashley pictured. Ashley has been leading a number of trainings, so she could go to get some training on preserving materials when they become wet. So this happens quite a lot. I know we're in California and we worry about fires, but along with that, we also have to worry about pipes breaking and sometimes floods. Less so here in Escondido, but there are areas that are more flood prone. So this helps with understanding how to preserve and maintain our archival collections. Also, lastly, highlight here one of the examples of how our oral histories are conducted. So here, this was done in partnership with the Historical Society, so this was recorded at Great Gate Park. But they talked about the history of their home and family and grandparents here in Escondido. So Radha and Wes Pratt are pictured, and you can see there the microphone, and Ashley and the Historical Society really helped guide the questions and to make sure that the oral histories were captured in a way that could then be shared for later generations. It's just a nice example of what it looks like when you come in or work with us for the oral experiencing. And last but not least, well, we had limited turnout for this month's community highlight of outreach. What I really liked was this is an example of the library working with non-traditional partners. So in this case, we partnered with True Care, one of the local healthcare providers. They reached out and said if you'd be interested in helping promote and host a vaccination clinic. As one of our strategic goals is to help get the community have better well-being and health. We thought this would be a good match. They had less than 5 people attend, but it was a good connection for the library, and I think will be more successful when they can actually host it with their vaccination mobile, kind of similar to the Mobile, at our renovated library, so that they have a space that is visible and likely aligned with the community event, rather than just, I would say, a relatively random middle of the day February, but it was a good way of building up ownership. And those are the highlights for us this month. If you have any other questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Rena. It's really exciting to see the new variety of programming that's being offered at the library. Next, we can move on to the library use report. So we can go ahead and report out on our monthly use of the library.
Visited the library. I was there on Saturday. Who knew it was the place to be Saturday around dinner time? Both sides. I mean, I went with my whole family, so the kids did enjoy the children's side, everything from the games to the books. But I left my husband with the kids to go to the other side and peruse all of the stacks, and did check out a few things myself. And so, kudos, staff there are always so friendly, knowledgeable, and helpful. I think also kudos to have the different just informational stuff as you all usually do, but right there up front, tax forms, just things to help benefit the community. And again, everything just clean, welcoming, great place to be. But I'm telling you, even I was surprised how lively 6 p.m. on a Saturday. So it was great. Thank you.
My family and I have been sick on and off these last couple weeks, so we haven't made it in quite yet. but I know my little one is becoming a big fan of the library. When the books we have at home, usually they'll have like recommended, or you might like all these other books. And so we'll finish reading a book, and he'll be like, "Ma, we got to go to the library. I need this, this, and this." So he knows that the place to get the books is the library.
So I wasn't expecting when they said that we're going to move into the mall as a temporary location, I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it is, especially the children's section. Just amazing. It's usually always a lot of kids in there. So that and the checkouts, I think what we're seeing is more books per patron checked out than at the same patrons at when they were at the main library, which I just don't understand. But it's amazing. And we have to we walk through Target to get to the mall, to get to the library, so sometimes it's pretty expensive. But in any case, it's a great place, and I don't know what the numbers look like, if you've had a chance to put them together yet, to what it would take to have a location at the mall that made sense, or if it makes sense financially, but I know you guys are looking at that, right?
We are. We're working with the mall as well as LS&S to determine what those costs would be. And then, as you may have heard in a recent city council meeting, is that we are going to be coming back to the community probably sometime in September to have more robust conversation about what that might look like at having a satellite at the mall.
Yeah, I guess it all boils down to is if we can afford it, but certainly appears to be a very robust location, and really enjoy going there.
Okay, so I think I reported last month that I ordered a book online, but I hadn't picked it up yet. And after about 3 days of ordering it, I just showed up to the library thinking it would be there because I was going to Target. So I was stopping the library. And they said, the library staff said, "Did we contact you?" And I said, "No, but it's been like 3 days, so I was just checking in." And then they explained to me the process, that the books are kept off-site, different locations, and that I would get notified when the book would be there. So it ended up taking about a week. And then I came back, and it was a very easy process. And same as Giselle, I really enjoyed seeing all of the art and the tax forms. And I actually picked up flyers on water conservation for our yard, gave it to my husband. So it's very, very useful information there. And again, like Giselle said, I think it was a Monday or Tuesday during the week after work, and it was so busy. Children's Center everywhere. It was just a really lively place, and a lot of people enjoying their time. And also, I've been really pleased and proud of all of the different events that are being held, and coming out on social media, letting the community know the different events. I mean, I kept screenshotting events to my friends, going, "Who wants to go see the Lunar New Year, performance with me? Who wants to go to this Black History Month event with me?" And the crocheting and the cooking and the I think there's yoga tonight, and there's just every day there's something. So it's really fun that we have this place for our community to come together and meet new people. So it's just really great to be part of this community and what the team is doing at the library. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I think that looks like that's all we have for today. So this meeting is adjourned. We will be meeting again on Thursday, April 9th at 6 p.m. Thank you.